Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing some painting. If you watched the last video I did, I had so much fun doing these really process-based canvases, and I was working with watercolors, I was working with acrylics, I was doing some printing, and I just had a ton of fun with it. So today what I think I'm going to do is just grab some different materials I have around the art studio and do a little bit of printing. Just kind of mix some colors up and print them on paper, see what kinds of different marks we can come up with. Yeah, just kind of an open exploration, make fun, make art, have fun, get messy kind of situation. So I'm gonna go grab some different colors, probably a different color scheme than I used in my last video, just to kind of keep things interesting and see what I can find around the studio to use. So I'm gonna flip you down so you're looking down at my tabletop, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, we've got the tabletop view now. So you can see my beautiful clean white sheet of paper. That definitely won't stay that way for very long. I'm going kind of simple with the colors today, with primary adjacent colors, doing a magenta, blue, and yellow, very bright in all of them. When I put them on the plate, if you watched my last video, I kind of like swirled them all together, and I won't do that this time. I want to kind of group them near each other and just have them overlap a little bit, because as happens when you introduce all three primary colors, when you mix them, you get some very interesting but kind of ugly browns. And I don't really want that to happen, but I do want to mix together secondary colors. So I do want some oranges, some purple, some green. I'm getting a lot of magenta in here. I really like magenta. All right, and then I picked out some items for stamping. Since last time I used seashells, I thought I would go ahead and stick with kind of a nature theme. So I have a pine cone, a crow feather, and a piece of a stick. And then I thought if I wanted any kind of contrast, so all of these are going to make very organic shapes. If I wanted something really geometric for contrast, I also have my watercolor water cup here. So I think I am first going to start with the feather. Today at work in my classes, I did some painting like this, where we did, I used a couple of apples and I cut one like long ways and one sideways. So we got to see the different cross sections and printed with them. I chose like normal apple colors for printing. So on our paint tray, I put out red and yellow and green apple colors. And so of course we made lots of very nice browns, but I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And then we also added in some big magnolia leaves. They're so pretty. I'm being a lot more careful on this sheet of paper than I would be at work. I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe because at work I'm usually working on like a whole tabletop, and now that I've kind of limited my space down to this paper, it all feels a little more precious. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think there's also an element of like, I'm filming myself and I don't want to go too fast and seem silly. I'm really enjoying like pressing down the feather and getting all of these squiggly lines in there. There's always something just a little intimidating about a blank page. You gotta make it not blank really quick. I might come back to that feather. I want to go in for the stick. I'm not really sure which end to try, or both ends. Or maybe I roll it. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna get started. I'm gonna swirl together some of this yellow and blue, get some green. Well, that's not very interesting. I need to go in this side. Try this side. It's not bad, it's just not doing what I want it to do. Now what I want to do is I want to put paint on the stick and then roll it across the paper. But my tray is too small. So a logical adult person might grab a paintbrush to paint the stick. But what I think I'm going to do instead is just use my hands. It's so funny because I'm very this way at work, but I never like get this messy when I'm just at home playing around. But last time I got really messy and I had so much fun. So you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I think this is what I've really been missing in my own personal art practice, is just feeling free to play around and do things unconventionally and get messy. I'm just gonna start doing it. Rolling it around. I almost even want to like contour the paper to make sure I can get some of these prints. And then for the pine cone, sorry, that makes a terrible scraping sound. Don't know how I feel about that. Lots of pink and purple. Getting some coverage on the whole like bottom of the pine cone so that I can roll it around. I'm trying to decide if I want to add some watercolors with this piece as well, because I could, and I think that could be fun. The last time when I was working on the canvases, I did watercolor first and then acrylic paints over the top. It could be fun to reverse it and do some watercolor on top of this, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I will. This is already looking pretty busy, and I really want to try and use up all of these paints that I've put in my tray. I'm trying to make some orange. We've been pretty successful with green and purple, but haven't gotten a lot of orange on there yet. Get some around the edges. I really hate when it's so beautiful and colorful in the middle and then just nothing around the margins. I like it to like fully saturate the page when I'm doing art this way, at least. This is nice. The feather is a good vehicle for just like scooping up these paints. I can get these great big like globs of paint. I feel like with the lighting right now, it's probably not showing up on camera the way I feel like the colors aren't accurately transferring, so I'm going to keep it this way, as in I'm going to keep the camera angle this way so that you can see the whole sheet of paper. But toward the end, I'll make sure to zoom you guys in so you guys can really see the color mixtures a little better, because the way they're blending in person is very vibrant and it's just not translating very well to the camera. When I sat down to film today, it was to make an entirely different video than this. I was going to draw some still lifes. I was gonna work in my sketchbook and do some colored pencil sketches of different items around my art studio. And I still really like that concept, and I'm sure I will film it at some point. But I was getting so frustrated because at this desk, when I'm shading with pencils, the lamp that my camera is mounted onto just shakes so much. The footage gets so shaky, and it was so frustrating to me. So I'm gonna have to figure out another way to film that video. I wouldn't have normally done like two very similar videos like this back to back, but it was just really frustrating. And it's a really overcast day, so I don't have much light outside to work with. I don't have a lot of natural light to work with, so we've got like the lamps going and it's just not as good. But I need to film today, so this is what we're working on. I'm not mad about it. See if I can get some of those colors to show up a little clearer. I think what this looks like now is a really cool background. So I do think I want to go in with this cup and add some circles, but I don't think I want to use these same colors. I think maybe I want to go in with white. I actually think it'd be really cool if I went in with gold. I don't know, I just used gold, but I do think it would look cool. So maybe I'll go in with some gold and do some interlocking circles over the top. So let me go grab my gold paint. And then I don't think I want to just pour it and stamp it, because I feel like that's an easy way for me to waste some of this paint. So I may just go in with my fingers again. Let me see what the best way to do this is. Let me pour it on my fingers and smudge it around the top. I have a feeling I might have to reapply it a lot that way, but we'll see. I'm kind of trying to get some of the paint on the inside so that as I'm stamping it, it will pull down and kind of replenish the paint right around the rim, if that makes sense. Now, will that work? I don't know, but that's the plan. Man, it is having a hard time showing up. All right, I think I'm just gonna have to pour some in the palette for it to have the effect that I'm looking for. And that will kind of have the added effect that the gold will blend with some of the other colors, which I don't mind. I think that could be kind of interesting. Makes such a funny sound. As often happens when I do process work like this, I really end up feeling like the palette itself becomes such an interesting piece of art. The way all the colors mix together, it's just part of it. There's something so satisfying about just being able to mix colors with your hands. And not to be a broken record, but kind of as I was saying in last week's video, like sometimes there's something that gets lost when you can't just get messy with your work. There's something so childlike about getting your hands in paint. I wonder if ceramicists feel this way when they're like getting their hands messy with clay. And maybe that's part of why it's very satisfying for them. I would imagine so. That's kind of one of the only things I like about clay. But I really prefer the color variety of paint. I like the viscosity and the feel of working with paint. Now, what am I gonna do with this piece? I'm not sure yet. Maybe I'll use it as a background for something. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you in. Hopefully you can see some of the more nuanced colors. We've made a whole rainbow here. Got some really fun oranges, greenish gold, some purples. If I had altered the blue a little bit to be more of a cyan blue, I think the secondary colors would have come out even richer. I'll have to keep that in mind for next time. I think this blue is a little too true blue, and the purples ended up a little bit murky. It's okay. But there you have it. That's the art that we made today. Well, there you have it. Not exactly the video I was planning on making today, but another messy, impromptu process art kind of video. Here's what the painting looks like in this lighting. I'm sure it'll be a little bit different than just viewing it top down. And then I love looking at how the different items you use change during the process of the art as well. Our pine cone, our now rainbow stick, and of course the palette is all mixed together now, and the messy hands. But I hope this was enjoyable. I'm having so much fun just kind of recreating these different processes. When I'm at work and I'm teaching art in this way, I'm working with such little kids. Well, and really when you're working with kids of any age, you end up not having total control over what the end product looks like. So if I had introduced to my kids, we're going to be printmaking with pine cones and sticks and feathers today, they would have created something just totally different. And it would have been amazing, but I'm sure it would not have been what I had in my mind. And so there's something kind of fun about taking these methods of art making that I use at work and just recreating them in my own space where I have full control over the palette. I have some control over the palette at work, but I have a lot more color availability here. So full control over the palette and the placement of everything. And even though I went kind of wild and chaotic with it, it's still very controlled in that way because you're not introducing a classroom of 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds into the mix. So I've been having a lot of fun recreating these. So I hope you're prepared to see more process art from me. Next week, it'll probably be something a lot more controlled. I'll probably be back to drawing because I have missed doing some just regular drawing, but this is what this week turned out to be. So I hope that was enjoyable, but yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for hanging out.